Hello everybody, in this video we're going to be going through the starts of trigonometry. And the start of it is just to review some of the angle things you learned in geometry and 8th grade math. The first thing you would have learned is about a ray. A ray is a line that goes in one direction. When you draw a ray on the coordinate plane, the x-axis is going to start as the initial side of an angle, where the ray itself is going to be the terminal side of an angle. Since our quadrants are measured with 1 being in the top right, 2 in the top left, 3 in the bottom left, and 4 in the bottom right, we always measure our angles starting from the top of the x-axis and then going around through the quadrants. That direction happens to be counterclockwise, so whenever you measure a counterclockwise rotation, that's going to be a positive angle. And then put this little twirl to show the direction of counterclockwise. Clockwise would be in the opposite direction, where you go from quadrant 1 to 4, 3, 2, and back to 1, and that would make a negative angle. That would be starting from 1, going down and around through the negative quadrants first until you end up back at the positive quadrant 1. The most common way we measure angles is with degrees. And a degree is 1/360th of a circle. Over here on the left, it's marking that straight to the right is 0 degrees and 360 degrees. Straight up is a 90-degree angle from the x-axis. If you start at the x-axis and then you end up going halfway around a circle, that's 180 degrees. If you go a little further, 90 more degrees, then that gets you to 270. And then if you extended 4 90-degree rotations, that would be the full 360 degrees around a circle. For number 1, we're looking for 65 degrees. If going straight up is 90 degrees, then going halfway, just directly cutting between the x-axis and upwards, would be 45 degrees. And then if we cut that in half again, then that would be 62.5 degrees. And we're trying to get to 65, so we'll just go a little bit more vertical than 62.5 degrees. And then I can erase some of my extra angles there. While editing the video, I noticed that instead of 62.5 degrees, that dotted line should really be marking 67.5 degrees, which means the 65-degree mark would be a little bit less than that dotted line. These angles won't be perfect, but I definitely don't want you drawing something at 45 degrees whenever it should have been at 65 degrees. So you can draw little guiding lines to help you measure as you go. Alright, so directly to the right is 0, straight up is 90, to the left is 180, straight down is 270, and we're trying to get, for number 2, 320 degrees. So somewhere in this quadrant 4 is where we're going to end up with this angle. So let's label 0 degrees as also 360 degrees. And then we can figure it out from there. 320, halfway between 270 and 360 is going to be, this right here would be a plus 45 degrees. So 270 degrees plus 45 degrees would be 315 degrees. And they want us to draw 320, so we'll go a little bit to the right of 315 degrees. And then we can erase our guiding marks. So going from the x-axis around 3 quadrants and then a little bit past halfway into the 4th quadrant is going to be 320 degrees. For number 3, we're trying to get to 415 degrees. The starting point is 0, but it's also 360. 415 is past 360, so let's figure out how much past a full circle we need to go. Oh, that's interesting. If we went an extra 90 degrees, then that would be 360 plus 90, which is 450. So that's too far. Let's see if an extra 45 or half of 90 degrees is what we need. 360 plus 45 would be 405. And we're trying to get to 415, so we need to go 10 degrees further. So just more of an increase than we did with the 5 degrees in the 320 or the 65. But still not a whole lot of increase past our guiding measurement of 405. So 415 degrees would be a full circle plus almost another 90 degrees. For a negative angle, this means we are not going to go through quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go from quadrant 4 and around. So if we're going in this direction, then the starting point is still 0, but now straight down is negative 90 degrees. On the left side is going to be negative 180 degrees. And we're trying to go to negative 140. So negative 140, let's cut this quadrant in half. This would be 90 plus negative 45. If we went another 45 degrees, that would make negative 135 degrees. And we're trying to get to 140, so we'll go a little bit past negative 135 degrees. And this line, starting from the x-axis, going in a clockwise direction, will be our negative 140 degree mark. Negative 15 degrees is just barely past the start. To get this measurement well, we'll cut this quadrant in half, and that'll be a negative 45 degrees. If we cut that top part in half again, then half of 45 is negative 22.5. And for negative 15, we'll go smaller than that. So it'll end up more than halfway of negative 22.5. But still, it's a small angle. Negative 210. We got negative 90 straight down, negative 180 to the left, negative 270 straight up. So for negative 210, we need to go an extra 30 degrees. From negative 180, we need to go 30 degrees more, and 30 degrees is 1/3 of an extra quadrant, because an extra quadrant is 90 degrees. Each one of these little corners is 90 degrees. So if we're going to go negative 210, then we're going to split this one into a third around there. Starting from the x-axis, going down and around clockwise to negative 210 degrees.